Hello, and welcome to my video about weaving on kana. This video will serve as a primer to help teach new kanas about what weaving is, how to know if you are weaving correctly, and why you should weave. This video will not teach you how to weave, as the timings and cues for pressing buttons vary based on ping and keyboard settings, and as there are already good videos on that topic. See Bamba and Paul's videos, linked in the description. All recordings in this video are recorded with the same gear and nodes and with my repeat rate and delay already set appropriately through Windows settings. Here I will demonstrate what happens when you simply hold down Shiki, as all new kanas are wont to do. Notice that Shiki comes out in sets of 3, as dictated by the skill description, but how there is a gap between one group of 3 ending and another group of 3 starting. Here I have frozen the video after the third in our set of Shiki. For future reference, we will refer to this as Shiki 3. We can also refer to the first 2/3 of Shiki as Shiki 1 and Shiki 2, but these are less relevant for our purposes here. When the video resumes, you will see a slight delay before the next set of Shikis begin. Pay attention to this, as noticing this gap is very important for the rest of the video, as it is what we seek to minimize by weaving. Here I am playing the clip again, but at 40% speed. You can see much more clearly the gap between each set of 3 Shikis, or in other words, a delay between one Shiki 3 ending and Shiki 1 starting. Given that Shiki is a majority of Kana's damage share, if we can fit more Shikis into a given amount of time, our damage output would greatly increase. Targeting the gap between Shiki 3 and Shiki 1 is how we go about doing that. As a preface to this next section, I am not very experienced at full opacity weaving, as I typically play at 0% opacity, so there's not as much footage here. I typically use the character animation as opposed to the skill animation for my visual cues. I apologize for the inconvenience this might cause. In this clip, I am weaving my Shiki and Tengu's together. By using Tengu's animation cancel as soon as Shiki 3 starts, we keep the damage of Shiki 3, but by canceling the long animation, we can immediately start our next Shiki 1. We can do this once every 3 full Shiki combos. That is to say, we will cancel every third Shiki 3 we see. Once again, I will be slowing this clip down to 40% speed. At first we will focus simply on the first 3 sets of Shiki. What you will see is one full set of Shikis, that is to say a Shiki 1, 2, and 3. After this, a Tengu cancel will cause a second set of Shikis to begin immediately, once again containing a Shiki 1, 2, and 3. After this Shiki 3, however, because Tengu is on cooldown and we are not doing another cancel, you will see the same delay you were seeing in the previous section. Another way to think about this is you will see a burst of 6 Shikis at the start, a pause, then 3 more Shikis. Or 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. And here is that full section slowed down. Here is a sample of 0% opacity weaving. Notice how the character model seems to jump from kneeling to standing to back to kneeling when a weave occurs. This is what I look for in a visual cue, but you should figure out what works best for you. Once again, I will slow this clip down, so skip to the next chapter if all these samples are getting tedious. Here are two BAs done with attack speed 0 inside of domain. As you can see, one is done with weaving and one without. The only relevant stat here is the amount of shikis used, as that is what we are focusing on in this video. Note that weaving helps with other things, like mana generation for Doppelganger, which is not active here, but that is out of scope for this video. Hexa Shiki combines Shikis 1, 2, and 3 into a single BA column, so to get total Shikis used we would divide times used by 3. In this case we had 95 Shikis in the weaving BA and 83 in the other. This is an increase of around 14%. Note that this does not include the other benefits of weaving, such as faster Doppelganger charging and increased mobility out of Shiki 3, but even still it presents a large improvement to damage output. I even made several mistakes in the weaving BA, and in a vacuum, with proper weaving, you should expect to be able to hit 97 or even 98 Shikis in a 40-second period. To start, practice weaving on a stationary dummy. You should try to hit around 90 to 92 Shikis with attack speed 0 in a 40-second BA. Once you are able to comfortably do that, you can move on to implementing it in a real boss fight. I recommend getting into the rhythm in a dummy scenario first, as it is easier to implement once the timings become second nature. With weaving, you can also fit more Shikis into attack cycles in situations like Black Mage P3 and Saren. You should be able to easily fit 2 cancels into Black Mage P3 in between kicks, and with good timing, you can also fit 2 cancels in between Saren's pokes. From there, the sky's the limit. Keep working on weaving and go for 97 to 98 in a dummy scenario, as that is the practical limit for a 40-second BA. That is the end of this video. I hope it was helpful, and if you ask questions in the Kana Discord that were answered by it, I will ban you. Have a nice day!